How's it, Bills fans? I'm Lance Nelson, president of Built in Buffalo. To my left, Scott Casson. To my right, Benjamin Shoup. Welcome into another exciting episode of the Triple Coverage Podcast. It's week 3 of the preseason. There was a stinker of a week 2 that we just got out of, but it really doesn't matter unless Benjamin says it matters. What's up, Shoup?
Nothing much. Yeah, that game, I watched it as long as I could. I made it, I believe, to about 2 or 3 minutes left in the third quarter until I was like, I just can't. This is horrible to watch right now. So yeah, it was a tough one to watch, but it's still good to just see how these players respond to stuff like this, especially the young guys that maybe don't like how they performed last week, but see how then this week they bounce back. So, yeah, definitely a rough one. But as we learned last year, when they lost to the Bears, what was it, 33-6 in the preseason? It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't.
Did we learn that?
Yeah,
Did anybody learn that?
I don't know. That we'll talk about that in a minute here, I believe, or if we just want to get right into that with what we learned. That's what I learned. I learned that no matter what happened in the past in preseason, people are still going to freak out over a preseason game. But yeah, I mean, I definitely don't really care too much that they got blown out. Yeah, you wish certain players performed better, but it is what it is, and move on from it, right? And learn.
Moving on.
Yeah, it is what it is, and it's not what it's not. Yeah, it was a bummer of a game.
An old boss of mine used to say, you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Sometimes she goes, and sometimes she don't go. And on Sunday, she just didn't go.
Yeah. Better to happen in a preseason game than a regular season game.
We got any more cliches that we want to put out there?
That's why they play them, right? Get in the shape.
Hey, they're pros too. They get paid to play too.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, it wasn't a ton of fun to watch, but you could tell that they put a lot more effort into the joint practice that week than they did the preseason game. So we got some good work in that, which we'll talk about in Hard Knocks. But yeah, excited for week 3. And we got roster cutdown day on Monday, which is crazy. August 25th or whatever that day is seems super early compared to what it usually is. So excited to see how it all shakes out. And we're going to talk about it and tell you what we think. And I bet Brandon Bean will then watch this and then make his own decisions.
Are we talking about that tonight? That's this show. All right.
I think so. I hope so.
Yes, it is. We promised it in the description of what we were going to talk about tonight, and we're going to get there. So, yeah, shout out to Monster Energy Drink, the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo. Please like and share this as you arrive here. Hop over to YouTube, get in the comments with all the YouTube folks. TJ and my mom are there, so if you want to talk to my mom, she is here. TJ is here. Lance, are you guys concerned as I am at safety if Rapp gets hurt and we are with Hamlin and Bishop out there as a recipe for disaster? What's our plan? We have great secondary coaching, and I tweeted this today, and please go look on my Twitter page, that I do not give a shit, S-H-I-T, one shit, or any shits, about who's in the secondary as long as we have our core together. If Teron Johnson's playing with Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard, and we have Bosa and Groot and Ed Oliver up front on the defense, I do not care who the 2 cornerbacks are. I do not care who the 2 safeties are. Why don't I care? Because the coaches are good enough to make those players successful in this scheme and within this defense. And regardless of the players we've had, every time this team has failed, it's been on the coaches. Nobody's ever said anything about the players not doing enough, in my opinion. It's always been McDermott hasn't gotten it done. So, heck, I believe in McDermott, and with whatever guys he can throw out there, he'll get out there. Now, the caveat is to what I just said is that Josh Allen has to be playing quarterback, and our offensive line has to be healthy as well. Those are the 2 offensive caveats with that not caring about the corners and the safeties. But, yeah, I get people's panic. I get that it's not ideal that we don't have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer back there. I totally understand why you would want that and that certainty and everything. But at the same time, I'm going to believe in our coaches, in the system, in the scheme, over having the names out there.
I agree with a lot that you said there, Lance. Except I don't really get the panic part of. I don't understand that part from people. I get being concerned, worried, but a lot of people are pressing the panic button already, just like they did with linebackers when Terrell Bernard was stepping in his second year. And I know that's the number one thing that people use to talk about the safety room. But I do think we also we're forgetting that Bishop played a lot better towards the end of the season. And before the Bears game, what did he have? 2 practices in? Like, this is in the NFL, it's very hard to all of a sudden and mentally maybe he was up to date, but physically and even just the speed of the game going right in, it's hard unless you are a 9-10 year vet who's been playing in the league and maybe has had to come back from not playing after a certain amount of time. It's hard to kind of just go right in. So Bishop, I don't really get the major concern about Bishop right now. Now, if it's week 6, 7, 8, and he's still not looking like he's a guy that should be a starter, then yeah, get concerned. So Bishop, I'm not too concerned. I am very concerned, and I know what's going to happen is Damar Hamlin making this roster. And I know the story is phenomenal of him coming back, and he's a great guy. But it's tough to watch him sometimes on the football field. So I know he's going to make the roster, so I do get that concern if Rapp gets hurt. But as long as Rapp doesn't get hurt for the playoffs, I'm fine if he misses a couple games, which more than likely he will because he's the way he plays. I'm fine with Hamlin having to play a couple games, but who knows? Maybe Hancock steps up. Maybe Hancock is a guy that continues to develop, and they say, "Hey, we're going to throw him out there instead of Hamlin." So I get being a little bit, worried or concerned. I just don't. I think it's too early to press the panic button, and I've seen a lot of that this week about the safeties and not even just safeties, also the corners now with them being hurt. But it's just, let's see how they play first in the regular season, and once Bishop gets some practices under him. So I'm not too concerned yet, but it's just something that I think we all just need to take a step back and wait till the regular season and see how they play.
I'm not super concerned yet. Like, it's not ideal that Bishop didn't look good, but like you said, he practiced twice, and it's only his second year in the league, and he's going to get better. And we're acting like he didn't play last season and look fine. Like, I don't get the panic either. Like, it's the same safety room as last year, and it was fine. Like, it's not Jordan Poyer, it's not Micah Hyde. We're probably not going to have any All-Pros in this group, but they're going to play fine. Which, when you're paying a quarterback as much as the Bills are paying a quarterback, you're going to have positions where you rely on young guys to step up. In this case, that's Cole Bishop. I think he can still do it. I don't think 8 plays or whatever it was that we saw from him on Sunday night after not practicing for 3 weeks is enough to go off of to get everybody into a panic. But people respond to what they've seen most recently. In the last play he was on the field, he got absolutely cooked. So people are going to think about that. And Damar is probably not a starter level player in the NFL, but he is a solid depth guy that they have. And you can pencil in Taylor Rapp to miss 4 or 5 games this season, and they'll roll with Cole Bishop and Damar Hamlin. And those are the safeties in the AFC Championship game. And that defense played well enough for the Bills to win that game. So I'm not as concerned about it as a lot of people seem to be. So we're just going to have to see how it plays out. And they can always make a move in the season for somebody if they have to. You hope they don't, because given the cap space we have, and we don't really want to go giving up draft picks, it's not ideal. But I'm not concerned yet. We haven't even gotten to the regular season. Cole Bishop's still getting into shape. So we'll see how they play. Hopefully they do okay.
For sure. I'm excited to see how it goes, but I'm not overly concerned. All right. What did we learn? So Shoop, I think, already went on what he learned from last week. Did you give what you learned last week, Scott Casson?
I did not give what I learned last week, but I'm happy to do so. Well, you learn something new every day if you're not careful. Every day is a school day. But what I learned is that Daquan Jones is going to have a bigger role on the defensive line than I think a lot of us want. Daquan had an up and down year last season, was also awesome the year before, had an injury. He's getting older. I think a lot of people were hoping that TJ Sanders could just kind of step in and take over the starting position, and DeQuan would be more of a rotational guy. I don't think we saw that either TJ Sanders or Deone Walker are ready to step into a role like that. They're going to be more of the rotation. So we're going to be relying on a lot of DeQuan Jones this season. And if he's playing well, then Ed Oliver is going to play well because Ed plays well when his one technique is playing at his best. So I think we learned that DeQuan Jones is going to be – a lot of people saying maybe he'd be a cut or trade candidate. We're going to see a lot more of him than we thought.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit more of Laviska Shenault than I thought I would. I played deeper into the game, maybe ramping him up because he didn't get a lot of time early on, increasing different roles along with special teams units, I think. And we'll get into what that means when we go through our 53-man roster projection. What are you guys watching for in week 3? I'm going to go first because I'm talking now and you can't stop me. Is the line of scrimmage play to improve?
I could mute you if I wanted to.
You could. It's fair. You could stop me, but you won't because you got no guts. No, I'm just kidding. The line of scrimmage play, I definitely want to see it improve. Even, discipline, Vandermark jumping false starts twice in a row, that sort of thing. Really looking to see, and I'm always looking to see line of scrimmage play be great for this team because it has been, quite honestly, and we've been very lucky to have this offensive line, and defensive line has been, for the most part, top half of the league, I'd say. They've been decent at least, and I think that they are able to control the line of scrimmage enough to have success. But so far in the preseason, these reserve players and guys that maybe shouldn't really be expected to have success aren't really having a ton of it. There are flashes here and there, but I want to see a little bit more of it and have it actually impact the game in a positive manner such that it results in either points or stopping the other team from scoring points.
I'm excited to see the younger guys or the back half of the secondary guys because I don't think Benford's going to play. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but Trey White got banged up today. We don't know the severity of that yet. Maxwell Harrison obviously is hurt and not playing. Dane Jackson hasn't looked great. Jamarcus Ingram we haven't really noticed, which for a corner is a good thing. Dorian Strong has flashed some things in practice, but in the game he kind of struggled on Sunday. I don't think Hancock is going to play with his shoulder injury, and he's probably not an outside corner guy anyway, but I'm excited to see who, if Trey White can't go by week 1, which is a long way away and we don't know anything at all, but who kind of steps up and grabs that number 2 corner role and says, like, I got this. And I think that could start this Sunday or Saturday, give him game rep confidence. So excited to see the secondary.
Yeah.
Marcus Ingram, self-talking, right?
I love Jamarcus Ingram. I just don't know if they see him as an outside corner. Like last season, they went with Elam over him. When he did play, it was more in an inside role. I don't know if they see him as an outside guy. When he was a rookie, he played outside, but I don't know. I think he can do it. I'm a big Jamarcus Ingram guy, but I don't know if they see him that way.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching for something similar, I guess, to Scott's. Not just the secondary, but I'm just the rookies and the younger guys, how they respond to last week, especially some of the guys that struggled. The D-line, I really would like to see, how Walker and Sanders and how they kind of step up. Solomon, the younger guys on the D-line, just to see how they respond. And
Andreessen too, right? I mean, he's not a rookie,
especially
but he's a younger
Andreessen.
guy, but he definitely has, like, this is one of the bigger adversities he's kind of faced. Like, he hasn't really had any expectations, but now kind of having a bigger role in the team, right? He does have this sort of adversity of having like a stinker, and how does he bounce back from it? I expect him to be okay, but let's see. It's definitely an intriguing topic for sure.
Yeah, because he played great special teams last year. He had a good first preseason game this year. And yeah, this past week was pretty brutal. Almost did make that tackle at the goal line, which I know some people were saying it was his fault. That technically was not on him 100% when it came to that play.
On the 1 yard line, if they don't score that play, they score on the next play. Who cares?
It's actually more on the corner on that side, and I forgot who it was that got blown up on the side, whoever it was. But yeah, but either way, yeah, just hoping to see them bounce back, and they don't have to have the greatest game ever, but just show that you show what we expect of those flashes of, hey, they can make plays here and there, and continue to bounce back when they face adversity, like you said, Lance. So that's really what I'm looking for when it comes to the week 3 game. I did see a comment about this, so I'll just go right into it unless you guys have anything more on week 3 for preseason.
Rip it.
Yeah, so as we saw the comment, I believe somebody asked if Gabe Davis did sign a 1-year deal. He did not sign. However, he was brought in for, I believe this was his second visit. The medical team took a look at him from what was reported. So Gabe Davis was, again, looked at. I know the Steelers were also looking at him. So it's an interesting question. I know people go back and forth. Some people really want him back. Some people say keep him as far away from this team as possible. So what do you guys think of Gabe Davis potentially returning? Are you in favor, not in favor of it? What do you think, Lance?
Man, we got to get Anthony Romeo on the line here and try to see. Now, Anthony and I have spirited debates about this in our chat, but I am a very pro Gabe Davis person. I would love to have him back in the right role. I don't want him back to be wide receiver 2. I don't think he's a wide receiver 2 in this NFL, but I think that his role in this team is a wide receiver 4 or 5. Well, in the previous NFL where he broke records in the playoffs, he was all right then. But in today's NFL where he's not breaking records in the playoffs, then no. I mean, he's a wide receiver 4 or 5. If he can do those things that a wide receiver 4 or 5 do, which he does very well, the little things, the fundamentals, the gritty things, then yes, I want him on this football team in the right role. I've said this a million times. I believe on this show when we've talked about it multiple times when he was first released, I guess, and things like that, is that, yes, he had a visit. He's not signed, and I wish they would sign him. I would predict that he would come in and fill a role that would be very important and help this team.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I would be fine if they brought back Gabe Davis. But like Lance said, he's not coming back to get 60, 70 targets. He's not coming back to be wide receiver 2. The only thing I do wonder about if they are going to bring him back on a wide receiver 4 or 5 capacity would be, can he and will he play special teams? I know he did in the beginning. He hasn't in a few years. I don't particularly remember him being that good at them. So that would be the thing. But also, like, if Elijah Moore is wide receiver 4 or 5, he's probably not playing special teams. If Shavers is 4 or 5, he's absolutely playing special teams. So, this regime likes to look at a complete football player, not just one side of the ball. They like guys who can do multiple things. So if Gabe comes back as wide receiver 4 or 5, is all bought in on playing special teams, and he's going to dig out guys on run plays, and he's going to block on screens, and he's going to be a good team. He was a captain before he left and went to the Jaguars. Like, they love him here. He won the what is it called, the Iron Bill, like the hardest working bill 2 years in a row. Like, he's going to be great in the locker room. And we were talking about this in our group chat of, like, I don't think the Bills have 4 wide receivers better than Gabe Davis. I don't know if any team in the NFL has 4 wide receivers better than Gabe Davis. So to bring him back on a minimum contract, to have him be wide receiver 4 or 5, I'm all for it if he's willing to take on the role of a wide receiver 4 or 5.
I'm kind of indifferent on it, to be honest. Like,
boo.
I just don't really like. If they do bring him back, sure, why not? If they don't, gonna lose zero sleep over it. Not really gonna care. Like, it'd be cool to kind of have that story of if Gabe comes back and plays well when he's called upon, and ends up being just the guy that kind of turns the fans back around to him instead of being against him, which it seems like majority of people don't really want Gabe back. So I don't. I mean, it is what it is when it comes to if he does or doesn't sign. I really doesn't make a huge difference for me. So it's kind of the boring answer, but at the end of the day, it's Gabe Davis. I don't think it's going to be the reason or we win or lose the Super Bowl if he comes in. So yeah, yeah, and I'll go with Christopher here as well. I'm not even sure if he's necessarily of a need. Like,
I don't think we need him either, but
yeah. So like it's one of those things where it's like we don't need him, but it wouldn't hurt to have him come back. I don't think so. It doesn't make a huge difference for me. And when you're talking about special teams as well, that reminded me I know we're going to talk about Hard Knocks in a little bit, but Sean McDermott did emphasize in this past Hard Knocks of people will make this team specifically for special teams. So if guys are willing to play special teams, that ups your chance of making this team if you can also play your position. So, if Gabe comes in, I do expect him to have to play some special teams. So we'll see, though. There were some injuries, though, this past week in the preseason game. Trey White, as Scott mentioned, did go down. There's no official really word on what it is yet. So that's going to be something to watch out for. Obviously, if it's something bad, man, I don't even know. With Trey, I feel so bad for him, but I'm hoping it's not anything serious, just like everybody else is. Other news, Caden Prather, the 7th-round pick, did get put on waivers, but he reverted to the IR there for the Bills because he did clear waivers, so he is officially on the injured reserve. Same with DeCorey Couch, who I believe made some plays in at least the first preseason game, if I'm not mistaken, was making some nice plays there. So he also went to the injured reserve. Darrington Evans went to the injured reserve. Maxwell Hairston is a quote-unquote a ways away. So there's a bunch of injuries, and I did see the question here from you, Bud. Does it seem like the Bills players suffer more injuries than the average NFL team? If so, conditioning, field conditions. I'm just going to go quick. I don't think they do. I mean, it to us, I think seems that way just because, again, it's our team. Just like the same way when people look at Brandon Beane's drafts, they say they're comparing it to perfection. They're not comparing it to the rest of the league. Or Sean McDermott, they're comparing it to perfection, not the coaches around the rest of the league. So it's one of those things where, when we're looking at it, it's like, oh, man, we just can't get over injuries. But every team has a lot of injuries, especially early on. And usually, actually, the team that I hate to say usually has a lot of injuries is the Baltimore Ravens, feels like early in the year. So there are teams where if you look around at just injury reports, there's a lot of injuries that go around in the league. It's the NFL, it's football. So I don't think it has anything specific to do with the Bills. But what do you guys think of kind of all of that? One, that question. Two, Trey White getting hurt, Prather getting moved. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, you really hope that it's nothing serious for Trey. Like, that would just suck so much. He was having such a good camp. He's worked back from all his other injuries. He was able to walk off the field and then took like a cart up the tunnel, I think they said. So hopefully he just rolled an ankle or tweaked something, because that would really suck for him as a dude. But also, would be without a CB2 and 3 at that point, and then might as well put Lance out there, or even worse, Codrington.
He's a dude. You're a dude. We're all dudes.
You hope it's not serious, and like we have normally gone through each injury and each roster move every week, but there was just too many this week to talk all about. So just hitting the high ones. But I don't think the Bills have more injuries than any other team. I just think we pay attention to the day to day. Like Jair Alexander, you mentioned the Ravens. Like Jair Alexander hasn't practiced for 2 weeks and no one's really said anything. Malik Neighbors didn't practice for 2 weeks and no one in the media really said anything. Like, we just pay attention to everything that they do, so it feels like more. But every team has a lot of injuries this time of year. Every team has a lot of injuries all season. That's just the nature of football. So I don't think it's at a higher rate than any other team.
Yeah, I think historically we've been sort of lucky as far as injuries go, and it's just a matter of like some of the concerning positions that we have. Like cornerback was sort of a weaker position for this team going in, and they made the moves they made, but then some of those guys now they've added are hurt. So Max getting hurt is a big deal because, like, oh man, we kind of brought in this first round pick to come in and play right away, and that's just not going to happen now. So it's a little bit of a panicky sort of viewpoint of just like, it's perspective. I think that right now we want Curtis Samuel to be healthy, and he's not been especially healthy all preseason so far. So you really do have to think like, I know it's some of the guys and some of the positions that are hurt right now kind of are just exaggerating, the team as a whole being injured. And I think there's going to be bumps and bruises throughout the entire preseason. You see guys like miss a couple of practices here and there. You saw Connor McGovern not even dressed in the preseason game at all, just that sort of thing. But he was doing fine at the pizza party, so I think he's good. But absolutely sick to hear about Trey. Really hope that it's nothing keeping him out of game action week 1, but we'll have to wait. I mean, I don't have anything really to say about Trey right now. There's nothing definitive that I've seen that would suggest his injury is one thing or another. And I'll say this kind of each week and stuff. When we talk about injuries, I'm just not going to claim to be some sort of injury expert. I'm not a medical person, so I'll report or say whatever's online or available to us, but I don't have any sort of projection or any. I'm not going to pretend to know anything more than that on Trey White or any other injury, really, for that matter. So, mentioned the pizza parties. Hard Knocks was this past Tuesday again at 9:00. If you missed it, then you might want to not listen to this segment because we're going to talk about Hard Knocks and we're going to spoil everything for you. I'm just going to say I love the pizza party thing. It's great. It was cool to see kind of the inside thing. Connor setting off the smoke detectors and stuff like that in his house. I just thought it was a fun overall episode. And any little glimpses we get inside of these moments that we wouldn't otherwise, some team meetings and other things, I find it interesting, and I'm entertained at least.
Yeah. Hard Knocks, I think, has done a great job so far with the Bills. Obviously, I think the Bills do have a heavy say in what's being put out there as well. But yeah, I will say the one thing that stood out to me is actually, I believe it's Jimmy Carlo. I'm not sure if I'm mispronouncing it.
The linebacker from Army.
Yeah, I think he was an undrafted free agent that went to the Jets last year, but then I believe like
ACL.
it was the first play of
first game at least.
Yeah, towards ACL, but I don't think he'll make the team. But I really hope that they bring him back on the practice squad, just because he's a guy that looks like if you need to can step up and play at least special teams right for you, and he's a guy that motor's always going. Also was rocking my favorite number 35, so there's a plus there, just a random one. But yeah, he's a guy that there's those stories every year with Hard Knocks that you just fall in love with the players, and more times than not, the player does not make the team. But yeah, I really do hope that they at least bring him back on practice squad. It would shock me if he makes the 53. I mean, I'd be very, very shocked if he makes 53. But yeah, that was the number one thing that I wanted to talk about when it came to Hard Knocks, was just, shout out to him for working and making the most of his opportunity so far.
Yeah, he is a good story. He was really good at Army. You always kind of root for the service academy kids, and then tough break last season. But yeah, definitely making the most of it. I thought it was really cool that we got an inside look at the joint practice, especially because none of the starters really played in the game on Sunday night. But we got to see, like, hey, this is the work they put in. This is what they did. Like the offense and the defense, they were getting reps, ones on ones, which is something that is better than preseason game, the controlled environment. So I thought that was really cool. And then just getting to see kind of like the lighter side of some of the guys, like when Joe Andreessen picked off the ball and Josh Allen chased him down and popped it out of his hands. Like that was just really funny. The pizza party was cool too, because we did that playing football. We'd have pregame dinners at someone's house, and kind of brought me back to those. And we did that in high school. It's really cool that this team does that at the NFL level, because I don't think a lot of teams do stuff like that.
Yeah, good stuff. I concur with most of your sentiments. If you haven't done so yet, please like and share this episode. Please head over to the YouTube channel, get in on the chat with other fans, and subscribe to that Built-in Buffalo YouTube channel so we can have more followers, more comments, more likes, and get into the algorithm. We got a couple of shows. We got Dave and Akeem doing their Billsology stuff on Saturday nights, back at it again, and super glad to have those guys back on the streams. And so just click the notification button to get notifications when Built-in Buffalo is live on YouTube, and then like on and share on Facebook, and like and repost on X. We are sponsored by Monster Energy Drink, the official energy partner of Built-in Buffalo. I do want to say thank you to Buffalo's Best Bottle and Can Redemption Center over in West Seneca on Clinton Street today. Helped me out on my lunch break as I flew in there with like 13, 14 bags of cans, and they got through them all on my lunch break and were able to help me clean out my garage a little bit as a project I wanted to get done here, and then also 7-1 Slicks for this sick haircut that I got that Scott admired so much when we first popped on here. So really appreciate the compliments from Scott, and Dennis over at 7-1 Slicks does a pretty good job. We're going to try to get something going with him and see where that goes. So more to come from that, but 7-1 Slicks is over on Broadway in the Lancaster area. So
yeah, he did
with
such
that,
a good job. He made you look good. That's no easy task. So this guy's
dude,
legit.
see, legit. I have like real defined eyebrows and everything. It's pretty cool. So, anyways,
I thought you were just excited.
Let's get in. We're gonna do the 53-man roster projections now. So let's get into that. And Scott, you want to kick us off with your quarterbacks making this team?
Mike White and Mitch Trubisky next. No, I got Josh Allen, and then Mitch Trubisky. I don't think he's done anything to lose the job. Mike White certainly hasn't done anything to take the job. I think he trusts Mitch more than Mike White. And I think Mitch fits the play style better of this offense. If God forbid anything happened to Josh Allen, I think Mitch is a bit more mobile, fits kind of what they're trying to do. So Josh and Mitch.
Mitch fits well. Yeah, Josh and Mitch. I concur.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. I think Mike White will be back on the practice squad because of how I think Sunday kind of lost any chance of any other team picking him up because he did not play the best. So, yeah, I think it's Mitch and Josh as well.
Who you got for RBs?
RBs. So for RBs, RB / fullback because I'm just throwing Reggie Gilliam in there. Gilliam, I'm thinking is going to be there. Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, James Cook. As great as it would be for Frank Gore Jr. to make this team, I just don't see it happening. I don't see, obviously they brought back Ty Johnson on a contract. They're not going to cut him. James Cook just got an extension, not going anywhere. And Ray Davis, as much as some people would probably, I saw at least some people being in favor of getting rid of Ray Davis and keeping Frank Gore Jr., I think Ray Davis is a better football player, and I think the Bills know that. So I think the Bills will keep Ray Davis instead.
Yeah, I'm going James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Reggie Gilliam as 4 running backs / fullbacks.
Ditto. But I do think Frank Gore, they try to bring him back on the practice squad. Maybe he goes somewhere else, try to get another shot. Maybe he gets a shot on a 53 somewhere, which would be awesome for him. I think they want him back. I don't know if he'll make it back.
Yeah, it's just tough for receivers for running backs right now with this room to be making the roster. But as I just kind of slipped up, next obviously is receiver. This is kind of the big one. 5 or 6. What are they doing here? Who's going to get cut? Who's going to be kept? Scott, who are your 5 or 6 receivers making the 53?
So I have Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, and that's it. I only have them keeping 5. I don't think Terrell Shavers makes this roster, and I don't think it's anything to do with him or him not playing well or him not doing everything he could have done to make the roster. I just don't think that this team likes to keep 5 receivers. They've only, or excuse me, 6 receivers. Yeah, they've only done it a few times over the years. They've been 5 the last couple of years. And even if they were to keep Shavers, I don't really know how much run he would really get. So here's a tweet from Hansen over at Cover One. So as far as like Bills' number 6 receivers and what they've done. In 2020, it was Andre Roberts, but he was more of a returner. 4 catches, 34 yards. 2021, it was Jake Kumaro. 2 catches for 28 yards, and he was more of a special teams guy. 2022, Jake Kumaro again, 4 catches, 64 yards. 2023, they didn't have one. Last year, they didn't have one. And they did Virgil for a little bit, and he didn't play any offense, all special teams. While I think Terrell Shavers is good enough to be a receiver in this league, I just don't think that the team is going to keep 6 receivers when they've shown to us that they're not going to use them very much. I think that the roster spot will go to somebody else like a Brandon Codrington or an extra defensive player where they need the help more. So I think they keep 5 receivers. That's a really big bummer for Shavers because like he's a guy who deserves to be in the league. I just think it's unfortunate that they don't have a spot for him.
Yeah, it's really hard to come up with this, we were kind of scrambling or changing our predictions sort of, because I think Scott had maybe 6 wide
Originally,
receivers originally, and then I still kept my 6, but with the Trey White uncertainty, we just don't know, so that may affect how people get kept or not kept. And also throughout this, there's going to be some guys that I'm leaving off because I just don't know that I think they'll either start on an IR or just not, because of the injury, not be counted as part of the 53, but have a chance to return. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm going Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, and Laviska Shenault getting the special teams role there. As I mentioned earlier, I think they're doing some things where they were playing him in the game, getting him some reps there, but also getting him some special teams reps additionally. So I'm not a Brandon Codrington fan. I wish the dude all the best in the world. I just think that we could have someone better on the team to do more things than simply return, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to change what I said before the show just a little bit.
That's not allowed, actually.
And kind of might be a little bit surprising here, but I'm going to go with 6. But I'm actually going to go Shakir, Coleman, Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Laviska Shenault, and Shavers. I think Elijah Moore will be the one surprise cut the Bills have this year. Obviously did not look good against the Bears. Really struggled with, I think he had 2 drops, misread a screen where he just took the wrong lane. And it just seems like you haven't really heard too much about him besides, I believe, 1 or 2 days, maybe the entire camp and practices. So I think, Shenault could make this team as a returner, especially if they get rid of Codrington. It's going to be one of the 2, I think, stay on this team. And Shenault looks good, and then I think Shavers just makes this team. I mean, to me, what has Elijah Moore done to make this team that Shavers hasn't? I think Shavers has done more to make this team than Elijah Moore has. Elijah Moore, yeah, he has the pedigree of being a first-round pick, not playing with other good quarterbacks. Second-round pick. It was early, right? It was like 34 or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think exactly 34, yeah.
34, 35, but yeah. He has the resume maybe to be over Shavers, but I just think they're going to have to make some tough cuts, and that's going to be my one surprise cut there. Also because we'll get to obviously Codrington a little bit later. I think that Shenault will be the returner there. So I do think they keep 6. I think Chenault's that special teams only guy. Shavers will be wide receiver 5 if they need him to play, and he can also play special teams as well. So those are my 5 or 6 there for wide receiver.
I don't know who said it. Maybe it was Scott. Maybe it wasn't. But they're mentioning that like KJ Hamler can play the Elijah Moore role better than Elijah Moore right now, it seems. And maybe that was somebody else in our BIB chat. I'm not sure. But and that's a big comment, not necessarily whether it's true or not, but if someone believes that, then there may be something to what you're saying about Elijah Moore being that value there. I do like the pedigree. I think that like this is the time to make mistakes. So if he does screw up a little bit here, they're not going to just hold that against him because they know what he can do and what he's capable of versus like, making a mistake, like dropping a pass and things like that. And we don't know what they've seen from him in practices and things. Has he made that play? Like when I went to training camp back in July 24th now, he was making those plays and they were force feeding him the ball throughout the session I was at. And it seemed like he was getting a lot more run and doing very well. So it ebbs and flows. And I can understand what you're saying about the Elijah Moore thing. I think if they're going to get rid of somebody, it would be maybe trading Curtis Samuel. But then on the other hand, it's like Joe Brady literally said that he wants as many Curtis Samuels on this team as he can get. So Elijah Moore would sort of fit that mold too. And not that they're the exact same guy, but they definitely have some of the same tendencies and traits and abilities.
Moore also hasn't really gotten help from the quarterbacks, like in the preseason. There was the play in the first week where he's running naked down the field for a touchdown, and Mitch just takes the check down. Or there was he ran a nice corner route.
He had his pads on, dude.
Well, I don't know. You were there. I wasn't. Your words. And then he ran a nice corner route on Sunday night, and Mike White underthrew him by like 10 yards. So like he's getting open. I don't think we can blame him for who is throwing. I'm not going to say throwing him the ball. It's throwing the ball to his general vicinity because it's not to him.
Sometimes, to Lance's point of, they were kind of force feeding ball. Sometimes they do give. They want these guys to get looks, and if you take advantage, you take advantage. And unfortunately, sometimes, as Scott said, sometimes it's not their fault entirely that whether it's a missed throw or whatever. So, look, that's I do think that it's a take by me. It is a bolder take by me to say that Elijah Moore will get cut. I just think for sure Shavers, I think, is making this roster. I do think, I think teams would trade for Samuel. It's not like that bad of a contract. I know everybody say nobody's going to trade. It's really not that bad of a contract at all, especially for a player that has been able to perform in the NFL. I just, like Lance said, I think Joe Brady loves him. I don't think they're going to be moving on from him. So if they do have a surprise receiver cut out of those five, Samuel, Palmer, Coleman, Shakir, I think Moore would be the odd man out there just because I think they really love Samuel. I think obviously Palmer, Coleman, and Shakir are a lock. So it could happen, definitely for sure, that Moore makes this team. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he makes this team. But yeah, I'm going to go with those six as kind of a bolder take there that, there's always one or two surprises every year when the final cut day, and I think that's a possibility. So we'll see. Some other weapons, though, on offense is the tight end position. And the tight end position, I don't think is another one that, is kind of expected here. I'm going with the two DKs, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Jackson Hawes. You don't spend a pick on a tight end like that and not keep him. And I'm completely blanking on his name. Zach Davidson has struggled so far. A couple drops.
Terrible preseason.
Yeah, real bad. So I just don't think he's done enough to outperform Jackson Hawes. And like I said, I don't think you just get rid of Jackson Hawes. What do you think, or Scott?
Ditto. Yeah, no need to keep. Yeah, same guy. I think all three of us have the same guys. So
3 tight ends. Let's do it. Offensive line. I'm going to go with the starters: Deion Dawkins, David Edwards, Connor McGovern, Osiris Torrance, Spencer Brown, and then Alec Anderson, Ryan Vandemark, Tylen Grable, and Kendrick Green. Here's one of those situations where I don't know that Van Pran Granger's back enough to be on the 53. He may either be on IR or I'm not sure what the alternative is for Van Pran Granger at this point. If he's close enough to return, maybe they can get him on there, but I haven't seen enough to suggest that he would be. If he's going to be kept, then I'm going to pick him to make the team over Eddie Olafosho as a linebacker later on. We'll talk about that. So if Van Pran Granger has to be kept on the team because they're not going to put him on IR and they want to play the roster numbers game, then I'm going to take him as the 10th lineman. But as it stands now, I'm going to suggest that they put him on IR designated to return, and he doesn't count as part of this 53 exercise.
Yeah, I got the 5 starters. I put Van Pran Granger on there just because we don't really know what's going on with him. So I think he makes the team. So I put him on there. If he starts on IR, then it opens a spot up, obviously. And then Alec Anderson, Vandemark. And then I'm torn between Grable and Luntz for that last spot. I don't think they keep 10 linemen. They've either kept 9 or 10 in the past. They kept 9 last year. Maybe they keep 10 and they both make it because I know they really like Grable. But I think they like Lunt's versatility a little bit better because I know he played all right tackle in college, but he's been playing a lot of guard and even left guard in preseason. He was awesome in week 1, struggled a little bit last week. So gone to my
Doesn't he
head
seem
right
like a guy
now.
that can go to a practice squad, though, as for Lunt? Or do you think he would be somebody that someone would probably grab?
I think they both probably could, to be honest with you. Like, they're both late-round picks. They both, I don't think they'd have a ton of action out there. I would probably say as of right this second, Lunt makes the team just because he's this year's draft pick. But, yeah, I think it's between those two for the last spot. And who knows, maybe they keep 10 and they both make it. But and then, yeah, if SVPG starts on IR. Then I also have Kendrick Green because I don't really think we have any other centers.
Yeah, I'm going with the 5 starters: Dion, Edwards, McGovern, Styris, and Spencer Brown. So those are my 5. Alec Anderson's going to be the other one. I think they keep both Grable and Lunt. So I think that. And then for me, the last spot, if Van Pen Granger does start on IR, then it's going to be, for me, between Kendrick Green and Ryan Vandemark. One of those two. Vandemark, obviously, again, kind of struggled against the Bears, where he, penalty-wise, just didn't really play too well in general. You already have a guy that Lunt can play right tackle, Grable can play left tackle, Lunt can also move inside. So Van Pen, as much as they love Vandemark, and he's a great locker room guy and very loved by the O-line, that could be another tough cut that they make. So I think Kendrick Green or Van Pen Granger, whichever one. And I do think Vandemark's another kind of surprising cut because, you can keep kind of Grable and Lunt, 2 guys that they think they do like, and end up still keeping Alec Anderson. You have your center then there. So that's going to be my other surprise one. At the end of the day, it's another one where, again, won't be shocked if, just another good locker room guy keeps everybody happy, keep him there. But I think if they're looking at the future as well as what you've seen so far, I think that Lunt has looked pretty good. Grable, they love. Those 2 guys might be able to get a spot over them. But it's going to be between 2 out of those 3 will make this team. And it's going to be tough on who they decide. But we'll see. So those are going to be my 9 there for the offensive line.
I was just going to keep the same 8, and then Will Clapp, I think, was on there last, and he's not here anymore. So that's where I kind of put Green. But I do like the idea of Lunt. I think that Ryan Talbot actually suggested that they could probably trade Ryan Vandemark this preseason, and that would open up the spot for Lunt to be there. And I like that idea a lot. So if they are able to swing a trade for a late round pick for Ryan Vandemark, I do like Lunt to be in there. But as of now, I do have Vandemark, the veteran presence, being there and making the team. And then Tylen Grable, I think they would like more than Lunt, given his stature with the team. And I think they probably would believe that Lunt could make the practice squad and be just fine there and be elevated if needed. And that's where I'm at on that. But before we go to defense, do you think Vandemark's mine, and I'll give the credit to, like I said, to Ryan Talbot for the idea, but do you think there's an offensive player that gets traded? And if so, whom? Who's the most likely in your mind? You have to trade one of these guys, then I'm going to say, who are you going to trade from this offensive group, not offensive line, but offensive group?
I kind of feel like they won't trade Vandemark just because he's the only one of the backup offensive linemen in this group who has starting experience, like especially at the tackle position. Like, he played really well when he started last year. He's the kind of guy, I know he didn't play great against the Bears. He had a couple bad false starts, but like, he has regular season NFL tape from last year that's good. And I think with guys like that who are vets, like, that means more than just like what they do in a meaningless preseason game. So I don't think they trade him. I think he makes the team just because, especially with Spencer Brown in his back, you might need him. So I think Vandemark's team, if they are going to trade somebody, we mentioned earlier, I think it would probably be Curtis Samuel, as much as they say they like him. But he would just kind of be the odd man out. I don't think anybody else really is tradable based on their contract and when they brought them in. So if anybody gets traded, I would say Curtis Samuel. But I think Vandemark is here just because they like him. He can play either tackle. He's more comfortable on the right. So maybe that has something to do with him looking shaky on the left. But yeah, he has like tape where he looks good.
Sorry, I just got sidetracked by something. But yeah, I think if there is an offensive trade, I think Vandemark's the option there. I don't think anybody does get traded, though. I really don't. I just think offensively they'll keep it as is and just make cuts that they need. But yeah, I do think that, I think that out of everybody, Vandemark would be the most. I just think they really like Curtis Samuel, and they don't want to get rid of him. And yeah, so that's that's my take on that, and don't really have too much
That's
more.
all. The words of Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that.
Hit us with some defense, Scott Casson.
So let's start with the edge position in what probably would be a lot tougher of a move, but Michael Hoyt being suspended, as well as Larry Ogunjobi at the defensive tackle position, kind of gives them 6 weeks to figure it out. I have Bosa and Groot, AJ, who maybe is a guy who could get traded. It's every single mock trade that anybody in Bills Mafia makes always has AJ Epinesa in. I'm like, if you didn't know better, you'd think he was like the belle of the NFL ball with every team getting him in these mock trades. But I don't think they're going to trade him. I think he makes it. And then Javon Solomon and Landon Jackson, with Hoyt being suspended, they'd have some interesting decisions to make if Hoyt wasn't suspended, because I don't know what you do there. But yeah, I have those 5 off the rip.
Yeah, I have same exact 5 there, just because Hoyt is getting suspended, which I do know it is pronounced Hoyt for anybody wondering. It's very weird spelling, but I do think.
What I say?
I don't know what you said, but I do know past shows you've been saying Holt or whatever, or something. But I don't know what you just said now. I just am saying that for everybody in general. So Hoyt will be suspended. And I think Bosa, Groot, AJ, Javon, Landon Jackson all make it. The one guy I was worried about not making it is Solomon. I really hope they keep him still and keep moving forward with his progression. And I do have him making the team.
He'll be here until week 6 or 7, and Michael Hoyt comes back. And if they haven't moved AJ by then, they won't. And Solomon's sort of the odd man out for me in that equation. Michael Hoyt's going to be fantastic. I am super. I guess that could have been something I said we learned last week, but we already learned it. We've seen it all preseason. He's just going to be really good. And I'm sort of almost happy in a way that some of these teams aren't going to get to see him for the first 6 weeks. And then, we talked about the Baltimore deal where we may see them in the postseason. Hey, we could see a scenario where Buffalo gets the 1 seed and we don't have to see Kansas City or Baltimore. That likely means we'll see maybe the Bengals or someone in the AFC Championship or the Broncos. So see how that pans out. But it would be ideal. But if we play the odds here, we're probably going to see Baltimore in the postseason and playing them without Michael Hoyt in the first week, and then having a completely different team basically in the playoffs with him, I think would be pretty awesome. So excited for that. Got Bosa, Rousseau, Epinesa, Solomon, and Jackson for those guys. For the D tackles, got Oliver, Daquan Jones, TJ Sanders, Deion Walker, and Dwayne Carter. Again, with Ogunjobi's suspension, makes it super easy to go with those guys, and then they'll figure out whether or not they even keep Ogunjobi. Like, there's a chance Ogunjobi just gets cut, and I'm not sure. Maybe they like him enough to keep him. I'm not sure what the dead money is, so that may be an ignorant comment based upon finances. But on the surface, I just feel like he's a guy that they haven't seen a lot of. I haven't really seen anything from him in the preseason that says, yeah, I can't wait to get him. And we've seen Hoyt really shine in the preseason, so I'm not sure if Ogunjobi has really done anything. I will go back this week and try to see if we've seen anything on tape from this guy, because there hasn't been a lot for me to look forward to in Ogunjobi's presence coming after the suspension.
Yeah, he is $5 million guaranteed, $3.4 million dead cap. So I'd be surprised if they cut him.
Yeah, probably not going to cut him.
Yeah.
I got the same D tackles though. Yeah, do I know people have been floating Dwayne Carter's name out there? I don't want to give up on him and then all of a sudden he can go somewhere else, whether it's trade, cut, whatever, and perform well. So I do think he makes the team, especially with Ogunjobi obviously getting suspended. And then we'll see what moves they make. I mean, who knows? Maybe Daquan Jones is a guy that he's not playing well, and then Ogunjobi comes back, and he's the guy that's the odd man out there. So it's going to be tough when these two do come back with Hoyt and Ogunjobi to see what they do make decision-wise. Obviously, Epinesa, maybe he gets traded. We'll see. But I think for now, they'll rock with those 10 defensive linemen there and then go from there.
I have the same 5, so move it along.
Linebacker we got next, obviously. So linebacker is another interesting group because there's got a couple guys where maybe a lot of people have them. Oh, they're getting cut. They're not. I think we can all agree Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, Dorian Williams, all making it. And I also have Buffalo Joe making it. I just think, I know he had one bad game and people are reacting of, oh, well, the story's been nice. One bad game does not ruin the story because he played well in the first preseason game. He's played well special teams this past season, last season, and he had a good preseason his rookie year as well. So I think he makes the team. You don't have a middle linebacker. I mean, Shaq Thompson, I guess, could play in there, a middle linebacker, but I think they'd rather have Buffalo Joe there. So I have Buffalo Joe, Eddie Olafojo, and I also have Shaq Thompson, actually. So I do have all 6 of them? 6 of them making it. I think they're going to want some depth there at linebacker. If they do cut somebody, I'm going to say that's going to be Shaq Thompson.
Shout out to Nick Sabato too on X there.
Yeah, I use that. Yeah,
because that's really good stuff by Nick. I met him at Podathon event I did for Ranting Ron and getting his son a liver. So Nick was a cool person to meet and really good. Informative tweet that he put out with the positions by year, and only 1 year have they only kept 5 linebackers, which is 2023. I agree with Ben. They're going to keep 6. I have those exact 6 in Milano, Bernard, Andreessen, Williams, Olafosho, and Thompson, with a caveat that if they do keep 10 linemen for some reason because of Van Pran Granger's situation, and if they really want a Lunt on the team or Vandemark or whomever, that Olafosho would be my odd man out there. But he hasn't really had a great preseason thus far, and would be looking for a little bit more from him in his second year coming up. Just not seeing it. So that's where I would be at linebacker.
Yeah, I only have him keeping 5 linebackers.
What a loser.
Jack Thompson gets cut and Eddie makes the team. Shaq is one of my last 3 cuts. I think he's right on the bubble, but I think if it comes down to Eddie and Shaq, they keep their draft pick. They keep the guy. They have 3 more years of team control on a cheap deal versus the 1-year veteran rental. Eddie didn't play a whole lot. I think the only game he played last year was the season finale. So we haven't really seen much on tape for him. He hasn't looked awesome in the preseason, but again, like, who has, honestly? I think I'm only going to keep 5 just because there's
Michael Hoyt has. We talked about that.
Yeah, right. Josh Allen's played great, has no incompletions. But yeah, I think they keep 5, and I think if it comes down between Eddie and Shaq, all things being equal, take the guy you drafted and have 3 years of team control of. Eddie's from Alaska. Tough guys are from Alaska.
I like that.
Linebacker's a tough one.
Ben into Alaska.
Yeah, linebacker's a tough one. It's another one where it's like the bottom of that depth of who's going to be where and who's going to be on this team. Another tough one is corner, though, especially now with Max being, kind of taking a little bit to come back, and Trey White now going down. We don't know, obviously, the extent of it. So these ones, I think, are going to be, again, subject to change. So what do you got, Scott, for your cornerbacks here for those 53?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I went back and forth on this for a while with how many they're going to keep. I originally had Shavers making it, Dane getting cut, but with the Trey White getting hurt today, like, we don't know how serious it is, so I'm going into this assuming he's healthy. But at least early in the year before Max is back, I have Max starting on IR because they said he's a ways away and there's no use in rushing him back. And especially with Trey White being cornerback 2, I hate to say it, but like, he could get hurt at any second. And he's probably not going to be able to play the whole game. He hasn't done that in almost 2 full seasons now. So I think they're going to need more bodies at corner early in the year because they're going to have to rotate more, or God forbid, something happens. So Benford, obviously, Trey, Taryn, those are, the three starters there. Got Dorian Strong making it because he's looked okay in the preseason. I threw Hancock in with the corners. I don't really know where he really lines up specifically there or safety, but either way, I got him there. And then this one was hard for me because I love Jamarcus Ingram, but I think they go Dane. I think Dane is the last corner because he plays outside. And Jamarcus Ingram, they don't really use him outside. So I don't know.
There's no dome in Buffalo. They're all playing outside.
Not some weeks. They play in a dome sometimes. But on the outside of the field, guarding the outsiders, I don't know how to. There's no other word to say it.
Boundary corner. That's what I would say,
yeah.
but that's fair. I'm just joking.
Why use a $10 word and a 2-bit word works just fine. But yeah, I think Dane is more of a boundary corner than Jamarcus is. So I think Dane makes the squad, and those are the 6 they roll with. When Max comes back, Dane's probably out. But yeah, those are my 6.
Right on. I got Benford, Trey White, Teron Johnson, Dorian Strong, Jordan Hancock, Herbie Hancock, Jamarcus Ingram. So I have no Dane Jackson on this team. Don't want him on the team. Didn't want him when they signed him. Don't want him now. Don't think I'll ever want him, but wish him the best. I'm sure he's a great man.
Yeah, I got the same as Lance there. I just think Ingram, having been on the team last year, obviously had that one big game against the Dolphins. I think they'll want to
Player of the week.
What?
Player of the week.
Player of the week. 2 picks, 1 for 6, and shut Tua down there. So I think Ingram will make it over Dane. I do think Max does start on IR. Obviously, if Trey's injury is worse than we think it is, man, they'll have to do something. I mean, you'll probably see some guys brought in on some visits or something. But, I got those 6 making it with Strong, Hancock, Johnson, White, Benford, and then Jamarcus Ingram being the last one, just because I think they'll like him better, especially because Dane's kind of getting older as well. I know Ingram's not exactly young, but he's still younger than Dane Jackson, taller, might even be faster at this point. I'm going to say they keep Ingram. Safety,
Careful. If Deion Dawkins is listening to you right now, he will let you know that guys are improving with age, okay? So don't just, in his presser, he was very concerned about people thinking that folks will fall off as they get older, but this team is improving with age, according to one Deion Dawkins, who, hey, I'll take the guy's word for it.
I mean,
trying to convince us about yourself or what?
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, but we'll move on to safety here. Safety, we'll get a little off there, everybody. So we got safety there. Safety is another one where I think most of it will kind of all be on the same page here. Taylor Rapp, Cole Bishop, DeMar Hamlin, Cam Lewis. As I mentioned earlier, I really wish that Hamlin was not going to make this team. Again, nothing against him. He's a great guy. Obviously, amazing story. I just don't, like many people I know, don't think that he is a caliber football player to be on this football team. And I would like to even see, I know he hasn't really made any noise, but still would like to see Derek Forrest make it over him if possible. But I think that it will be those 4 there making this roster. What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, I've got Rapp, Bishop, Hamlin, and Lewis. I think we talked about last week how much I was sort of impressed by Cam Lewis so far. I just thought that he could have been one that's okay, he's kind of lingered around and now it's kind of run its course. I thought we were going to have a little bit more depth to where they could move on, and it's nope, they kind of need him. He's pretty important and does very well in spelling the safeties or the nickel corner spot when needed. So given that Teron Johnson already basically gave himself a concussion in the preseason, I just don't have faith that he's going to get through the season playing every game. So we're going to need a guy like Cam Lewis as Jordan Hancock continues to develop. And it looks like Jordan's getting a little bit more time in the safety room. We could kind of switch Lewis into the corners and Hancock in the safeties at this point, potentially. But either way, one's going to play one or the other, or they both can play both, so to speak. So I think that Cam Lewis is a nice surprise here, or for me, not a surprise to anybody necessarily. It's just a good person to have in this safety room or in this defensive back room, we'll call it, because a lot of these defensive backs can kind of do a couple of different things, and we'll see where they need to use them more than anything. It's sort of at a need at this point versus where they want them to be.
Yep. Yeah, I have the same 4 safeties. Going into camp, I would have said that Derek Forrest was almost a guarantee to make this team, but he hasn't really shown much. He was playing in like the 4th quarter of the game on Sunday night, which kind of tells you where he is on the depth chart. And I think that they like these 4 guys ahead of him. I don't think they keep 5 safeties. So fortunately, he's the odd man out. But again, one of my last cuts. And yeah, John makes a great point. Cam Lewis is awesome on special teams. He could probably even play outside corner if you needed him to. Like, he is one of those guys, like I said earlier in the offseason, he's not going to be an all-pro. He's not going to be a Pro Bowler, but he's going to be in the right spot. He knows the defense from almost every position, which I don't think people realize how hard that is. And he's going to be in the right spot. I mean, hell, like, even wasn't it him that Justin Jefferson went up with one hand and got over in that crazy game? Like, he didn't make the play, but he was in the right spot. And that's all you can really ask for a guy like Cam Lewis. So, yeah, I got the same 4 safeties as you guys, which brings us to our specialists. Tyler Bass.
Scott, sorry. Before you go to place specialists, I do just want to bring up, I do see, I saw, Asante Samuel and Justin Simmons brought up. Asante Samuel, I just want to say I'd be fine with Asante Samuel. Justin Simmons, though, I think we need to understand Justin Simmons is not Justin Simmons anymore. If you got mad at Jordan Poyer his last season in Buffalo for slowing down, you will be very upset at Justin Simmons being on this football team because he is older, slower, not the same player. There is a reason he does not have a contract yet. Part of it could be because he wants more money than teams are willing to offer, but there's a reason why teams are not willing to go up to where he is. So Asante Samuel, I'll be fine with that idea. If they want to throw it at him, but Justin Simmons to me is just another aging safety, and I'm good on aging safeties that are continuing to get slow. So I just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, Asante Samuel, by all means, go see what he wants.
I'll take Asante Samuel Sr. Is he available?
He might be available, but I don't know if you'd actually love him on the football field at his age. I don't know how old he is specifically, but yeah.
Yeah. Specialists. We got Tyler Bass, who is back to kicking, it seems. They let Caden Davis go, which tells us Tyler Bass should be good to go here in the near future, or at least by Saturday, because they don't have any other kickers, which is a good sign with his weird pelvic soreness or whatever it was. Reed Ferguson, obviously, at long snapper. Brad Robbins, who's been a guy who has played well in the preseason. People were worried about him, but so far he's looked good, and hopefully the preseason is the most he punts all year. And I have Brandon Codring making it as a returner. I don't think anybody has taken that job from him. And I don't think a guy like Chenault, where he can play receiver, I don't think that his ability to be wide receiver 6, and I told you earlier how much they use those guys, would kick Codrington off of the team. He's a really good punt returner. He's a good kick returner, and returning punts is not easy. And they don't really have anybody else, even with Chenault, that's really a punt returner by trade. So I got Codrington making it. He's like a cockroach, just won't go away. They tried to put him at nickel corner this past weekend. That didn't go well either. He's not an NFL level cornerback, but he is an NFL level returner, and I have him making the team again.
And I do, you are forgetting we do have another kicker on this team, just in case he's not ready to go. So
that's true.
Yeah, I have Bass, Reed Ferguson, Brad Robbins. I was back and forth on Codrington and Chenault as my last kind of spot there. I think, like I said, one of those two will make it. Maybe because of if Trey's injury is worse and they say, hey, we just need another cornerback on the roster, Codrington can also give him an edge there. So yeah, it will be between those two, Chenault and Codrington. I don't think you can go wrong when it comes to returner wise for either of them. I think both of them have the capability to be great returners. Obviously, Codrington we know can be a great returner. Chenault, by numbers at least, kick return wise, has shown he can be great. So I don't think you can go wrong either way. I did go with Chenault this time. Wouldn't be shocked if it's Codrington, though.
Would be really shocked if it was Codrington. Really don't like him on the team because he can only do return. And
That's going to matter this year, though.
Chenault has been trying, or at least getting reps at different coverage units just as well as return units. And that's something if Codrington was on the coverage units, I think that would be an easy conversation to say, let him play, but he doesn't play the coverage units. He only plays the return units. So I'm going Bass, Ferguson, and Robbins to complete my 53 out. I didn't have Codrington making it.
My only thing with that Codrington wouldn't play coverage units is if they keep Shavers or they keep, obviously Cam Lewis, Jamarcus Ingram, they'll have plenty of guys to be able to go out there and play coverage unit, where you won't need Codrington or Chenault to be out there, whoever it is. So if they end up not keeping a Cam Lewis or Jamarcus Ingram or whoever else, Shavers, then Codrington definitely would not have the leg up there. So I just wanted to put that there. But either way, I don't think it will be a huge difference which out of the two that they keep.
For sure. All right. Well, that does it for our episode here. The 53-man roster prediction in the books. We'll try to get this somehow into a graphical format to post it on social media for y'all's criticism and critiquing and interaction. So until next week, we'll have a 53-man roster next week when we join you again, and we'll be getting ready for the regular season, the Ravens.
Nothing.
So, we'll have an off week, and then we'll get the Baltimore Ravens. So we'll have 2 weeks to sort of preview that. But next week we'll break down what's on the 53 and where we're at with different folks on the injury front, and we'll see what other news, trades, or other happenings are going on at that time. We look forward to it. Until then, be safe and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.